Hi everybody, Tammy here. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to the dolly room. Okay, we've got a lot of Blythes behind us, some other dolls. We have some Barbies up here and Creatable World dolls and a Girl for All Time dollies over here, etc. But today we're talking about Blythe, and in particular I'm going to focus on the idea of how to pre-order a Blythe doll. And this actually was prompted by a viewer who was asking me questions about the process, and as we were chit-chatting I said, wow, that's kind of like a good idea for a video. And she said, yeah, that is a good idea. So here I am. I'm going to tell you how to do that. I'm also going to talk briefly about the history of Blythe, but I'm not going to go into massive details about Blythe history. Maybe in another video. In fact, let me know if there's other videos you would like me to do about Blythe dolls or any dolls in general that are informative videos. If there's information that you're particularly looking for and I may be able to accommodate you, I'd be more than happy to do that. More than likely, if you have questions or if you're looking for information, that means other people are as well. So yeah, so I'm very open to doing that. You can put your ideas in the comments down below, or you can private message me through various social media. I'm on Facebook a lot and Instagram somewhat. So before I get into the how to pre-order a Blythe doll, I am going to step back a little bit and give a brief Blythe history. I'm not giving all of Blythe's history. There's a lot to it. So if you want to fast forward a little bit through this part, if it's something you feel like, oh, I already know all this, I don't want to hear it, fast forward a little bit to actually how to do the pre-order. But I think it is useful, if you don't know some of the history that I'm going to mention, I think it's useful to know in order to understand, I mean, why are we pre-ordering a doll anyway? I mean, why can't you just order the doll? Okay, why can't you just go to the website and order a doll? So the Blythe doll first came out, of course, most people realize this, Kenner was the first one to create it, came out for about a year, didn't do so hot in the 70s. Time went on, Hasbro purchased the copyright. They still own the copyright from what I understand. And then Junko Wong, who is the director of a company called CWC, and she also owns a lot of doll shops, a number of doll shops in Japan called Junie Moon. She purchased the rights from Hasbro to create Blythe dolls, again, to manufacture, to develop them, to sell them. So Junko Wong does this in the year 2000, and she teams up with a company called Takara to manufacture the dolls. So she's the creative genius behind bringing these dolls back. She decides, you know, what they're going to look like, what kind of hair they're going to have, you know, what their theme is and all that kind of stuff. Takara is a manufacturer, and they have a very lengthy collaboration until 2021. Not sure exactly what happened, but basically Takara told her, we don't want to make these dolls anymore. And she had to scramble and find another company in order to do this. At this point in time, you know, Takara, they were cranking out the dolls. The last couple of years before 2021, you saw a doll almost every single month with them. And in fact, I wrote down, there's actually, if you're curious, like how many dolls came out per year and what those releases were, there's two really good sources. DollyInsider.com is an excellent source for that. They even have some web pages where you can do like a drop down and go to the year, and you're like, gee, I wonder how many dolls did they produce in 2015. You can do that, and it'll tell you how many dolls and show you all the dolls. And then another one is the Blythe Guide, like theblytheguide.com. That's another really excellent source for Takara history. 2020 comes along, Takara backs out, and Junko Wong scrambling. She eventually finds another company, Good Smile Company. They are very well known in the doll community. They have been making dolls for years and years. They come in and they do step in, and they become the manufacturer now that works with CWC, aka Junko Wong, to make these dolls for us. And before I keep talking, I thought one thing I might mention is, when I say release, when I say there's a new release coming out, just again for those who may not be in the know, when I say release, I mean that's a new doll. So a doll that has not been created and sold yet. Maybe she's in the development stage or whatever, and they announce that, hey, there's a new doll coming out. You know, there's a new Blythe doll for January 2025, for example, called Love Jayla. she's a new release. She's going to be released at the end of January, and that release means that's when she's going to be shipped out to people. So when I say release, that's what I'm talking about. Also, I'm talking specifically about dolls made, like I said, by either Takara or Good Smile Company, manufactured by either one of those two, under a copyright that is being paid for and purchased, and is a licensed agreement between Junko Wong and Hasbro. I'm not talking about the numerous knockoffs, or I like to call them non-stock. Okay, there's a lot of controversy about even calling those dolls Blythe at all, but I'm not really sure what else to call them. The dolls with big hunkin' heads and their eyes change. That's kind of a long, a long thing, and they're almost to the point where, even though a lot of times I call them fakey dolls, I feel like some of these dolls, I don't really even think they're fakes anymore. They're just not stock Blythe. They're a different type of doll that's very similar to Blythe. So anyway, so that's a whole nother ball of wax that maybe I'll talk about some other time. But anyway, back to the history. Let me look at my notes here. So Good Smile pops in, finally shows up, and saves Junko Wong's bacon. Okay. And in 2022, we get the first Good Smile doll, Good Smile Blythe doll, and her name is Song of London Mary. So she came out then. She was the first one, and actually it took quite a while. Like I think I said already, I don't know, I started this video and stopped it a few times. Takara, before they stepped away, they were cranking out Blythe dolls with CWC pretty much every month. You know, it was not unusual to have a new release every single month from them, year after year. And then their last doll was 20 Years of Love, and that was it after that. So then when, and from what I understand, they really did not give Junko Wong a lot of notice. It was just like, hey, we're not making them anymore. Come get your naked dolls. We're out of here. And she had like a whole bunch of dolls that had no stock, and, you know, she had to figure out what to do. So she finds Good Smile Company, and they step in, but it takes them a while. And the first year, they really, I'm trying to remember. Okay, so in the first year, only 6 dolls came out. So in 2022, when they finally are up and running, Good Smile's actually able to produce these Blythe dolls. They only make 6. And then in 2023, they make 8. And then in 2024, we had 11. So they're back to the regular production schedule, I would say, that Takara had before they stepped away. And so now we have a new doll almost every single month. So it's a new release coming out every single month, pretty much, you can count on now, from Junko Wong, CWC, and Good Smile Company, who they collaborate together to do this. So that is why I thought the history, that little bit of history, was important for you to understand when I tell you about how to pre-order a doll, because these dolls come out every single month now, just about. And not all of us can buy every single doll. Some people do. I'm sure some people do. More power to you if you can do that. I don't have the funds, and I don't have the space. So when a new doll comes out, those of us who collect Blythe and are really into, you know, looking for, anticipating that new doll to come out, there's a lot of Facebook groups, for example, that we get together and kind of anticipate the new releases coming out, and when they do, we talk about them and that kind of thing. So when a new doll is ready to be released from this company, the first thing that we have available to us as collectors is a rendering or a drawing of a doll, and it's what the doll might kind of sort of look like. Typically, it's fairly, my experience has been, it's fairly accurate. It's not 100% accurate. Stuff can change. Sometimes there'll be a few leaks before the actual drawing comes out from the company. But typically, Junko Wong on her Instagram feed and on her blog, on her Junie Moon shop blog, they will post pictures, or like I said, drawings of what the new doll's going to look like. And so that's the first time that the doll is actually shown. And usually that's when the pre-order starts to open up. A pre-order simply means you are ordering the doll before it is available. You are buying the doll literally almost sight unseen if it's just the drawings, and you will not get the doll right away. Okay, so you're ordering her before she's actually available. So that's where the pre comes in. The doll's not available yet, but you're ordering her ahead of time. All right. And this isn't something that everybody's comfortable with, and I can totally understand the hesitation. And it can be frustrating because, I mean, typically a pre-order for a new release will open up about a month before the doll is shipped out, available, and ships out. Sometimes it could be more than that. Okay, sometimes it could be a couple of months. And so if you are waiting 2 months before your doll comes and you've already paid for that doll, yeah, it's like, it seems kind of crazy when I sit here and explain it, doesn't it? It seems like, why would you do that? Okay, but that's how it works. A pre-order works like that. Now, I will say there are some companies, and I have a list down below in the description, by the way, of retailers who do sell stock Blythe dolls, the licensed dolls. Okay, some of those might, and I'm trying to remember who it was. I want to say it was at Magma, or I can't remember who it was now. But one company used to just ask you for a deposit, but you're still kind of saying you're going to buy the doll. Okay. Most companies require that you pay up front. You pay for the entire doll, shipping, everything. And then when the doll is available, it automatically will ship out to you. So you've prepaid for it, you've pre-ordered it. It's all it's all done before she's actually available. Okay, so why would you do this? Like I said, you know, it seems like bizarre. When I first learned about this, I was like, this sounds so crazy to me that you're buying a doll before you can actually get the doll. Okay. And I know other companies do this. You know, this isn't the only company that does that. As an example, what do you call it? Mattel does that quite often, especially with their signature dolls. And not that long ago, I received a doll that I had pre-ordered a year ago. It was the Brian Gosling mold of Ken, and with the Knuff shirt. When I originally ordered him in October of 2023, I accidentally thought it said October, and I ordered him in October. So I thought, okay, I'm going to get him in October. I did not read carefully enough and realize they were giving me they were having me pre-order it a year in advance. Now, they did not take my money a year in advance, I will say. They waited to charge my credit card when they actually shipped it a year later. But that's not how Blythe typically works, especially if you order from Junie Moon or CC Toys, which are the two biggies. Those are the two main companies. Like I said, I have a list of other companies down below in the description. I know, well, Good Smile has its own website that you can you can pre-order and order dolls from. Also, Amy or AMI, that's a new one. I have never ordered, but I've heard some good things about that place. They also sometimes have pre-orders. And I believe almost all of those require you to pay up for the whole entire doll up front. Okay? All right, so why would you do this? There's a couple of reasons. Okay? First off, if the doll is super popular, you want to make sure you get your doll. Okay? You want to make sure the doll doesn't sell out and then you don't get a chance to buy the doll. Granted, it's not like I'm trying to think of when that's really even happened. Yeah. These dolls are limited. They're not like Mattel where they'll make, you know, they'll make them and make them and make them. You know, they'll make them, sell them, make some more, sell them, that kind of thing. They come out, they have a certain number that they've made, and then that's it. They don't make them again. We are not privy to know how many dolls come out. I don't know if they, you know, for example, if it's 2,000 dolls, 5,000 dolls, 10,000 dolls, I don't know how many are actually manufactured. I would love to know that. But, you know, they're limited. There's a limited number, limited edition of each of the release. And so that's one reason why people sometimes will pre-order, is because they want to make sure that the doll doesn't sell out, and then they end up not being able to buy the doll unless they buy it secondhand or something like that, which is totally an option. So it's not like you'll never find the doll necessarily again. However, this brings up to reason number 2. Reason number 2 why people pre-order is because of cost. These dolls are not cheap dolls to begin with, and they will get more expensive typically, okay? So when the doll first comes out, the very first pre-order, first release of the doll, that is when the doll is going to typically be at its lowest price. Not always, but typically. So if the doll is at this price, say the doll's selling for $185, okay? At pre-order, it is not unusual months later for that same doll to go up in price after pre-order, and that's kind of typical. So usually if you want to get the doll at its best price, you're going to want to get in on the pre-order and get the doll as soon as possible so that the price doesn't creep up. Now, this is, again, typically what happens, but not always. Every once in a while, a doll maybe that just didn't sell as well as they anticipated, or sometimes for whatever reason they'll decide they're going to have a sale or something. Every once in a while, very seldom, but every once in a while, I have seen dolls new in box, sold by retailers of Blythe dolls. Not you have to have, not everybody can resell these dolls. Occasionally I'll see them marked down a little bit from what they originally cost, but that is very seldom. It's usually the opposite. Usually the cost of the doll will go up over time, okay? And then even more so at years into the future, if you didn't get a doll and you're like, oh, I really wish I'd gotten her, and now I want to get her. I'm trying to think of an example, like that dolls that have gone up considerably in price. For example, Garden of Joy. She's a doll. She was an anniversary release, so she wasn't cheap to begin with. She had, extra clothing and, a lot of stuff with her, beautiful box and all that kind of thing. She's gone up a lot in price. So usually those kind of dolls, they will go up in price. So that's another reason why most people who do the pre-order do it. They want to make sure they get the doll, and they want to make sure they get the doll at the best price. So once you pre-order the doll, what happens? You wait. Okay, you wait for the doll to come. Now, most of the companies are going to tell you when you order the doll and you see all the information about the doll on their website, it'll tell you when the shipping date is approximately. It'll say, and typically it's at the end of the month. So, for example, Love Jayla, she's a 2025 release that's going to come out as I'm filming this right now at the point of filming. She's coming out in 2025. We have not seen photos of her yet at this point. Again, when I'm filming this could change any minute now. She's going to come out at the end of January. And so I've already pre-ordered her. They already have my money. I am filming this in early December. And now I just wait. I wait over a month for that doll. Yes, that's how it works. So it's not always the most pleasant thing, but I've heard of other companies taking even longer. Hey, my Mattel doll, that took a year, even though they didn't charge me until the doll was out. But that's kind of just part of collecting limited release dolls, okay? And before I let you go, I guess the only other thing I should mention is I did mention that, we first see drawings of the doll. At some point in time before she actually is shipped out, there will be photographs. And some people will say, well, I want to wait to order her until I see the photographs. And typically that's, I would say 50%, if not more of the time, that's what I have done, is I've waited for photographs. But sometimes I just know I like the vibe of the doll, even with the renderings, the drawings, before I see the photograph, and I just get the doll. Personally, I have never been disappointed when I've done that. I've done that 3 or 4 times at least that I can think of off the top of my head, and I've always been fine with the doll when I finally get the doll. So, but not everybody's comfortable with that. But before the doll comes out, as far as being shipped, there will be photographs. Again, this is something Junko Wong will post on her blog on Junie Moon and also on her Instagram. So I would say if you want to keep up with, you know, the Blythe news as far as new releases and stuff, first of all, of course, you know, there's me. Okay, so subscribe to this channel because I do try to keep you guys updated. I do Blythe news videos, and I also post in my community tab. Also, I post on my Facebook group that I share with my sister Tapping Flamingo called Blythe Doll Buddies, and there's a link down below in the description. But other good sources would be, like I said, Junko Wong's Instagram, and it's JUNKO WONG if you want to look her up on Instagram and follow her. Also, the Junie Moon website has a blog and a newsletter, so sign up for their newsletter. That's where I get a lot of information from. And also, another Facebook group is called 100% Blythe that a guy named Danny over there runs, and he is a definite Blythe connoisseur expert for sure, definitely. And like I said, yeah, those other websites I mentioned, Dolly Insider and the Blythe Guide, are good for just general Blythe knowledge. But if you want to keep track of what the new information, like I said, here, Facebook groups, Instagram with Junko Wong, Junie Moon newsletter, that's where you want to, you know, keep tabs on the new dolls that are coming out. I hope you found this helpful. Hopefully it makes a lot of sense. I felt like I covered a lot of information. It seems like such a simple topic, how to pre-order a doll. But there's kind of, I think there's a little bit you need to know before you do that. And yeah, and it's a personal choice. Don't freak out if you miss on a pre-order. Like I said, a lot of times the doll's going to come back. And sometimes it'll come back at the same price. So sometimes they'll have multiple pre-orders. They'll have a pre-order and then it fills up and then you can't get it anymore. And then another week or two goes by and all of a sudden, boom, they have more pre-orders open. So just keep that in mind. If you missed on a pre-order, you can always just keep checking the site. Whatever that site is, Junie Moon site or CC Toys, for example. Keep checking them. That happened with me, for example, with Pineapple Princess. She's actually right here, yay, in the blue dress. And she's a doll I pre-ordered just by seeing her renderings. I did not see any photographs of her. I knew I wanted her. And she kept selling out. Her pre-order kept selling out. And I would say it took me maybe 3 pre-order chances before I finally was able to get her. So that's something else. Sometimes there'll be multiple pre-orders. So yeah, kind of a lot to it, but you know, persevere. Just, you know, one of the things I love about the Blythe dolls is the history. There's a lot to them. There's a lot you can do with them, customizing them, sewing for them, crafting for them, putting them in displays. It's a doll that, you know, you can take their heads apart. I mean, what's not to love about that? So that's one of the reasons why I'm really drawn to these dolls, because there is a lot to them. It's not just a basic doll and there's not much you can do. There's a lot going on with these dolls. And I would say that's probably the case with almost any, you know, type of doll line. You know, the Smart dolls have a history. The Tonner dolls that I love, the Elowen and Nema dolls, they have a wonderful history about them. And that's one of the fun things about this hobby, is there's a lot to learn about it and educate yourself. So don't feel like you have to know everything at once before you jump into it, but at the same time, do your homework. Yes, the little teacher in me. Do your homework. Okay. If you have any questions, like I said, put them down in the comments as usual. Thank you for stopping by and spending some time with me. Please give this a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. Have a wonderful Dolly day. Bye-bye.